Hi, I'm Jay Polaki, and this is the HR Bytes podcast, where HR practitioners share their think globally and act locally digital HR agenda. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of HR Bytes. And my guest today is Mary Williams, a good friend and HR influencer. And I am so delighted to, hear all of the insights that you have to share. You've been in the HR space for quite some time, Mary. Tell us a little bit about how you started your HR journey and what's rocking your HR world today.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. My HR journey started when HR chose me. I had a different undergrad major and a different field of study, and it just kind of evolved. So it was through my involvement with startups where those owners and CEOs said, you know what, we'd like you to take part in this. And back then it was just a hat collection of multiple roles in a startup. As you can imagine, I was the fourth employee hired. So we all did a lot of different things. And that's where I first got my start. And it just grew from there. The people passion and the opportunity to affect all those different aspects through an employee life cycle. It hooked me in.
Well, you've seen HR evolve, and I was just reading an article about how it's, 25 years into this new century and how HR has evolved in these 25 years. But you and I have seen it a little longer than that, maybe through the 1990s and now. And, definitely things have changed. And with all this newfangled tech that's coming at us, there's a lot of talk about automation, AI, of course. It's everywhere, omnipresent. Um, in your view, how do we approach automation and AI for the HR function? There's a road ahead that's lit with innovation, but there are a lot of turns that we need to navigate. What's your perspective on this?
I think there are always going to be opportunities to make the world of work better. And I think technology can be a great way to do that with the right technology. There's a lot of talk about AI. AI is not a replacement for human talent. I think AI should be considered as an enhancement or considered as like a tool to work better, to work smarter. And if approached thoughtfully, mindfully with that listen first approach, I think we can take the time to understand both current tech, what are the needs, what are the challenges, what are the problems we're trying to address, and then use your listening to come up with where those automations can be leveraged to use and improve current processes. I think for AI, automation is a great tool for repetitive tasks and time-consuming tasks. Can reduce administrative burden for some of those time-consuming tasks that are repetitive. And you're giving people more time to do important work and to focus on those strategic initiatives. So by automating some of those workflows, that can be a big time saver. But when you're saving the time, you're also increasing employee satisfaction. So when you're coming up with a better way to work and streamlining, how we can enhance that performance and productivity, you have this other factor there where by doing the time saving, you're also increasing that employee satisfaction. I saw an article. Oh, sorry.
I said, well said. Yeah, that's a good perspective.
There was an article just yesterday about AI and how workers were surveyed that use generative AI and that it saved them a quote meaningful amount of time. And so the interviewer asked, well, what is that? How do you quantify that? 35% of those that were surveyed said it saved them more than 4 hours in the prior week. So I think that there's a lot of enhancements that can be applied.
Mary, have you used AI in your HR work? How have you used it? Can you give us a practical example of how you've used AI so far?
So, some ways are through employee engagement, through surveying. That data drives decisions. A great way to gather the data and analyze it. You can actually use AI to help you analyze large amounts of data to synthesize and summarize and identify themes. Um, it can help improve talent acquisition through that, reviewing candidates and applicants, um, and improving employee support. So think about all of those FAQs of where's my W 2? Where I can't find my benefits card, all of those frequently asked questions, you can really streamline how we work to enhance those, and then you're spending time on the more strategic than the tactical Q&A where you can use technology to be able to leverage that. So those are some of the ways.
Well, our HR Gecko bot definitely loves your answer. And you've talked about the human in the midst of all this. I've seen a number of your interactions and posts about it. How do we keep that human touch in the midst of all of this automation and AI in the HR function where H is always paramount than the R?
I agree with you. AI is not a replacement for human talent. As I said, I think of it as an enhancement and a tool. So my approach is the people first approach to make sure I'm leading with compassion, leading with empathy, leading with courage to care and not losing the human connection, still building relationships with the people. And it can be both. Technology revolution can be a great enhancement then to achieve those better outcomes without taking the place of the relationship. So, when you're challenging the current process, is there something we can do differently? Can we streamline, save time? You're working with the people and the stakeholders to understand what challenges that they experience. So I think that human element is just always part of it.
Absolutely. And we have a number of CEOs in the tech space who are talking about how AI is going to be much smarter than humans in like less than 5 years' time. And some even predict by 2030 it's going to be much smarter, or some say 2026. I mean, they're just throwing all this information at us. What do you foresee for HR this year and beyond? I know I'm asking you to look into your crystal ball here, but what should we be aiming for in HR, and what do you see for our HR function as we are grappling with all of this, new technology?
I don't think our jobs are going to be replaced, but we can leverage the technology to enhance our work and, as I said previously, work smarter, not harder. Part of that is how to ask better questions. So make sure we're keeping the focus on people and creating better processes and systems that increase that productivity. And I would look at a few things. Are there ways to make the process more streamlined, reduce redundancy, increase efficiency, with a lens to how it can be scalable when you're recreating? And then how can we further improve that employee experience, always with that being taken into account? So you can leverage tech for employee engagement, but also for growth and development and training. But I think that the important thing is to still make sure you're leading with curiosity and to get curious. And don't be defensive that you need to protect your job, that AI is going to take your job away. What you're trying to do is improve the world of work and provide those tools for people so they can work better and work smarter. And I think that it's important as leaders to model that behavior too, and model the growth mindset, and model that curiosity, and don't be afraid to take risks, and don't be afraid to fail. So, someone once told me FAIL is actually an acronym, FAIL, first attempt in learning. And that really reframed it for me. So it helped me to be more free to trial and error until I get it right.
That's a great acronym. In fact, I just came across that acronym just the other day, and it really reframes your perspective. Certainly does. Um, what are you most worried about now that we're talking about failure? What are you most worried about this year for our HR function? And if you had a magic wand, how would you, eliminate this challenge that you think we are in for?
I love it. I I'm worried about burnout, actually. I hear a lot about it, and if I had a magic wand, I'd eliminate burnout. One way to do that is through balancing reactive versus proactive and balancing tactical versus strategic. So, my very good friend Jeff Belkowski wrote a blog that HR is more than a fire extinguisher, and he also turned that into a Disrupt HR talk on that topic. In that, he talks about how we need to put the fire extinguisher down and get out of that reactive mode to be more proactive and more strategic, focus on the right things. So, if I had a magic wand, I would eliminate burnout.
Yes, we all need to eliminate burnout. I mean, it's been around too long, right? We just need to do something about it. Mary, what's one piece of advice you have for our HR colleagues who are, looking to adopt and adapt to all of this new technology? What do you wish for you and your HR team? And how should our HR colleagues be preparing for this year and beyond in the midst of all this? I call it the HR evolution, the HR revolution that's happening around us.
That's a great way to name it. I would embrace it. I would say embrace it, but then remember that you're asking for people to change how they work. So you're asking them to change. So in order to do that, you want to implement your change management strategies and practices. So another colleague of mine wrote a book about change management, and that is Dr. Melanie Peacock. And the book is the HR Pro Guide to Change Management. And so in there, she talks about the forces of change, the forces for change, has a formula for how to manage change, and then how to keep that momentum. So I think if we embrace the change, but then remember we're asking people to change the way they work, we want to remember those change management strategies to help those early adopters and get through the adoption process of the change.
Well, that brings us to the question connection round where our audience gets to connect with you and learn more about you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Mary, who is one person that you've gained in your network in the HR technology space in the past year that you'd recommend we all connect with? We will mention them in the show notes and put up their LinkedIn profile link as well.
Oh, great. Somebody that I connected with in person recently, somebody that I always learn something new from every time we interact and who challenges me in all the right ways is Cindy Murphy. And Cindy and I met a long time ago online, but never in person. We finally connected in person at an event. Of course, she happened to be volunteering at the time. And it was so great. We found out we were on each other's lists of someone we wanted to meet while we were at the conference. But what's special about her is her servant leadership, and her passion for volunteering is just so admirable, how she's always giving back to the HR community. And so I think she's someone that people would like to also connect with. She and I happen to be serving together on a conference planning committee right now for a conference later this year. So I'm getting to work with her on a project.
Wonderful. Well, what's your favorite HR podcast or HR technology book that you'd recommend?
Oh, I can't pick only one, so I hope it's okay. My all-time perennial favorite that has the soft spot in my heart is, of course, HR Social Hour. Will always have a special place in my heart for that podcast. I have a pretty great commute in the sense that it's the perfect time to queue up a podcast during my commute, and so I can listen to or from work. So there are several that I subscribe to. I'm a big fan of Cy Wakeman and her teaching. So she has No Ego and reality based leadership podcast. Lori Rudiman's Punk Rock HR is always great. Tim Sackett's HR Famous. Sherry Simpson does HR Mixtape. A lot of great guests there. Aaron Levy is local to me here in the Chicago area, and his is Raising the Bar on Leadership, and he does a really great job with that. And then we talked earlier about burnout. There's a burnout specialist, Kelly Swingler, that is working to increase awareness and understanding and education around burnout. And her podcast is called Frazzled, and that's another great one. So sorry I couldn't pick one.
Well, we'll have to edit this out because that's too
funny.
All right. What's a song that you would add to the list if we had an HR playlist? In fact, we have one. It's called Gecko's Grooves on Spotify. And we're asking for our podcast guests to recommend a song to add to that playlist.
If I had to only pick one, I will follow the rules. I would add Don't Stop Believin'. And that is because that holds a special place in my heart, where we were at the Wisconsin SHRM conference and we all went to this piano bar and we could play requests, and we ended up just all singing at the top of our lungs, and it was such a great time.
I love that song too. Thank you. So if you were to recommend a LinkedIn Learning or e-learning webinar series for HR technology, AI, and HR, is there one that you would recommend?
Lori Rudiman has some really great LinkedIn Learning courses, and I like her directness and her candor and her style. So she's got Be the Manager People Won't Want to Leave, and then a Transformative Leader That Your Organization Needs Now. Those are two recent ones that I've been able to take, and I thought they were great.
Wonderful. Do you like working remote, physically in a specific office location, or in a hybrid setting?
I pick hybrid. I think it is the best of both worlds. That combination of in-office and the opportunity to be remote for high focus, bigger projects, it achieves that best balance for me. I think that in person, there's this energy exchange that you can't really replicate anywhere else. And so that's great for brainstorming and problem solving and being able to gather together. So I think remote's also great because I live in the Midwest and we sometimes have bad weather. And so to have that option to work remotely and not have a dangerous commute is another perk of a hybrid environment.
Absolutely. How do you enjoy giving back to the HR community? I know you do a lot of stuff for the HR community. What's one way in which you like giving back the most?
I love this community and I love giving back. HR Social Hour motto was connect, give back, and network. And I'm at that phase now where it's not really about what I get, but about what I can give and offer to others. So I'm involved in my local SHRM chapter, HRA Oakbrook, and we have a mentor program where you can be a mentor and have a mentee for the course of a year. And I found that really rewarding. I also participate in HR Unite, and that's another community where I'm planning their conference for this year. And then I've been a participant in the Wisconsin SHRM SMILE team, and SMILE is an acronym for Social Media Influencers Leading Engagement. And so that's been a couple of the ways that I enjoy giving back.
Well, I love seeing you around. And if our audience wants to connect with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Oh, thanks, Jay. The best way is on LinkedIn. I'm starting to get more out there on Blue Sky, but I'm really just kind of learning my way around. So either of those two social channels are great for connecting. And I hope we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've learned a lot today from you, and I'm sure our audience has, gleaned a lot from our conversation, and they'll definitely be in touch with you. So thank you so much, Mary, for, sharing your insights and just, being a guest on the HR Bytes podcast and being a member of the HR Bytes community. Thank you so much.
thanks for inviting me. I had a great time. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Listen on your favorite podcast channels and watch us on YouTube. Follow us on social. We are on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Join our budding community on LinkedIn